Good evening. Welcome to this chilly Christmas Eve service at Westside Unitarian Universalist Church. We welcome you here into the warmth of our sanctuary. We welcome you if you are participating in this service at home through YouTube, where I hope you're cozy and warm also. But we're glad to have each and every one of us here today or tonight. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Ellen Greenwood. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And I am a member of our worship committee here, and I am our worship associate for this service tonight. And our minister, the Reverend Carol Bordeaux, is also here to guide us through this service.
So welcome, everyone. It's good to see you all this evening. You'll notice that we're doing this in the round. That's because there is going to be a participatory service. Many of you have pieces of paper. So for those of you who are with us virtually, and perhaps if I haven't met you yet, I am Reverend Carol Bordeaux. I'm privileged to serve here as minister. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And thank you all for being with us to help celebrate this Christmas Eve. One of the most important messages of the Christmas season is that every life is sacred. So we remember the birth of Jesus of Nazareth, whose voice sort of echoes through the millennia as one of justice and compassion. But as we honor that story, we also honor the miracle of life itself and the preciousness of each and every child and each and every voice in our world. So tonight, let's consider the Christmas story as one in which the voices of the characters and our own voices speak and celebrate the core values that we hold as Unitarian Universalists. They include justice, diversity, generosity, transformation, the ability to learn and grow, respect for the earth, and beneath all of those other values, love. Love as compassion, love as care, love in so many different forms. These are at the core of our UU tradition and at the core of this story that is being celebrated around the world tonight. So we're going to sing together. I'm going to be going back and forth from the microphone to the piano, so there's going to be a little bit of a lag time between when I say this and when we get to sing it. But I'm going to invite you all to join in singing our opening hymn. It's number 237 in your gray hymnal, the first Noel, and I invite you to rise and body your spirit to join in singing. We'll sing all three verses.
Say
Thank you. So the voices we hear about in that opening carol, which is so familiar to us, are some of the voices that are traditional to the story. They're the voices of angels, voices that invoke inspiration and wisdom from beyond our own limited selves. They bring a Noel or a song, a message of jubilation. Each service, we invite the bowl to sound. And this evening, as we invite the bowl to sound, we allow its voice, the voice of the bowl itself, to join those voices we've already heard and the ones we are yet to hear in uplifting our hearts and spirits this Christmas Eve. So as I invite the bowl to sound, I invite you to just center into your seat. Let yourselves be comfortable and become fully present here.
Yetta Jager will light our chalice this evening. The words for our chalice lighting come from Gordon B. McKeeman. Deep calls unto deep, joy calls unto joy, light calls unto light. Let the kindling of this flame rekindle in us the inner light of love, of peace, of hope, as we pledge ourselves to be the bearers of the light wherever we are. At the center of the Christmas story is the birth of a child. It is an ordinary miracle made extraordinary by the life the child will eventually lead. This miraculous quality, metaphorically conveyed by the image of the star shining above the stable where Jesus was born, reminds us that as you use, we honor transcendent mystery and wonder as part of what makes us human. And the choir will now sing Within the Shining of the Star. As the words of the song remind us, the shining of the star is a reminder of our own potential and possibility. And the miracle of the child's birth offers the hope of great transformation and healing in our troubled world.
One of the most important concepts of the Christian tradition is that Jesus of Nazareth is what is called the Word made flesh. So his life is considered very important because his voice and his actions give evidence of some greater truth or some extraordinary wisdom. One of the passages that in the Christian story is used to describe this is a passage from the book of John that says, when Jesus was born, the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld the glory full of grace and truth. So those phrases, full of grace and truth, are really important to why the story of Jesus has lasted so long. Perhaps we celebrate this amazing prophet and teacher and leader for modeling and exemplifying our capacity to know and give voice to deeper truths and greater wisdom.
Jesus of Nazareth was known for demonstrating wisdom and compassion through his work for justice in the world. Even the moment of his birth in a lowly stable is associated with voices that often go unheard, the voices of the working class, the poor, those not seated in the palaces of power. Throughout his life, he lived with, fought for, and loved those who were cast out by society. From the first moments of his life, Jesus of Nazareth reminds us to hear the cries of those who are suffering, who are struggling, who are in need.
So now this is the part where some of you have little white pieces of paper. Those little white pieces of paper each represent the voice of some part of our society that is often unheard, and we're going to speak for them tonight. So what we're going to do is this. If you have one of those little pieces of paper, I invite you to just stand up. And we're going to start on this side of the room, and we're just going to go around the circle when I tell you in just a minute. And what's going to happen is you can just speak the line that you have written on your piece of paper as we make our way around the room. I would say, let's go from Yetta to Mary Frances to Ashton, and I can't see who's in the back row back there, but you two, and then make our way across. And you're simply going to speak for those voices that often go unheard, and I will light candles to represent those voices. We are speaking for our neighbors, our friends, our worldwide human family, and for the planet.
All the LGBTQIA people whose voices were silenced by violence against them. All the creatures with whom we share the earth, being harmed by human mistreatment.
The people of color whose voices were silenced by police violence.
And police people and first responders who suffered and died in service.
The indigenous women who have disappeared, their voices often forgotten or neglected by the media and society.
The lands and waterways being harmed by human mistreatment.
Those who suffered or died of COVID.
People of all ages and identities whose lives were lost and harmed by intolerance, prejudice, and hate crimes.
Those who suffer, those who struggle with mental and emotional illness.
The people of Ukraine.
Children whose lives were lost or were forever changed by school violence.
All of those military and civilian around the world whose lives have been lost or forever altered by the horrors of war.
Those who suffer from poverty in our neighborhoods and our communities. And as Linda lights the last few candles, let's just remember all those who aren't on this list of voices that we just named, whose suffering is considered ordinary or expected, perhaps in our own homes, in our families, in our neighborhoods. Let's just take a moment to recognize, in silence as we look at the candles, that often those whose voices are the quietest are the ones who need our care and attention the most.
We're told in the story of the Nativity, as it's recorded in the Scriptures, that the wise men, or the Magi, brought gifts to the baby in the manger. And we give gifts to each other at Christmas time. We also take an offering at our Christmas Eve service every year. Our Christmas Eve offering always goes to the minister's discretionary fund. This is a fund that is basically what it says. It is money that our minister can use when she sees a need arise, perhaps among members of our congregation, perhaps in the community, but it allows her to help us in doing the work of this congregation. The choir will sing the hymn Winter Night as the offering is taken.
In the midst of the sadness of the world, we celebrate the holidays at this time of year to remind us of those things that we say so often in the Christmas season: hope, peace, joy. And we do that in the midst of a time of darkness. So there is sadness, but there is also this hope of joy. Think for a moment of the sounds you associate with the holiday season. Just think about that for a minute. Maybe it's the voices of family members who have passed or who live far away. Maybe you think of the laughter of children, or maybe you think of the laughter of children who have grown older. Perhaps you think of the sounds of a large church choir or an organ playing. You may hear the sounds of bells, the chaos of voices in a busy shopping center. There are so many voices and sounds associated with the season.
At the center of our experiences, there is often sound, the voices of people, of animals, of instruments, shaping our experiences. Our next Christmas carol invites us to reflect on the sounds of joy and celebration that the season is meant to inspire. In contrast with the suffering of the world, we have the ability to recognize ordinary miracles for the hope they bring and raise our voices to encourage and celebrate miraculous change. And if you would join us now in singing number 231 in the gray hymnal, Angels We Have Heard on High, and we will sing verses 1 and 2. Please stand as you are willing and able.
In the Christmas story, it's not just angels and humans whose voices matter, it's also the animals. Without sheep, there would be no shepherds. In the fields, without the donkey, Mary and Joseph couldn't have gotten where they were going. The cow, the dove of peace, and so many other creatures, their voices are important too, and remind us that the interdependent web of life is at the middle of Jesus' story as well. The generosity of the season extends beyond just the gifts that humans can bring. Tonight we're going to play a bit with the many diverse and widely different kinds of voices that our family of many earth species bring to this story of miracles and hope.
So first we'll sing the first 5 verses of the song as it's written in the hymnal. And the hymn is number 243. We'll hear from the donkey, the cow, the sheep, and the dove. But then some of you have extra verses to share with us. You won't have to sing solos, although you can if you like. Or you can simply read your verse, giving voice to another creature while the piano plays quietly underneath your words.
You can stay seated for this one because it's complicated. So we're going to sing through not the last verse, just the first 5 verses. And before we sing the last verse, if you have one of those green pieces of paper, after we sing the animals that are already written, you can popcorn yourself up and speak the verse of the animal that we have invented to be included.
Jesus, our brother, kind and good, was lonely. would spell. The stable dog were glad to tell of the gifts they gave Emmanuel. There are many other voices and sounds central to the Christmas season. We imagine the tinkling of bells when we think of the cold, clear night. Might be sleigh bells, might be reindeer bells, who knows? When the three kings arrive, the sounds of music from distant lands echoes in our ears. Even the gentle sounds of all those animals. And we don't have all these animals.
This is your turn again.
But we do have people who I know can make wonderful animal sounds.
Everybody pick an animal sound. You get to pick an animal sound. We're going to be the voices of all the animals. Yay! You can pick another. You can do 2 or 3.
All right.
Excellent. Nicely done.
Yes. In our UU values, this is the place of pluralism, of lots and lots of different people and creatures and cultures, all being equally important and having a part to play.
But of course, at the center of the story is a child. The most important character in the story is a child. And today we remember that each child, each life is sacred and important, inherently worthy and worthy of respect. So today we're going to sing about this value. You can open your teal hymnal to number 1061. And the way this song is set up is it's participatory like the rest of the service. We will all sing the choruses together, the part that's the music. We're going to sing it through once, and then members of the choir are going to sing the poetic verses that go in between it. So I'm going to invite the choir readers to go to your microphone stands. And everybody else, you can stay seated. We're going to sing. The choir will help us do it. We will sing through the chorus once, and then the reader will take a turn, and then we'll sing through the chorus after each reader.
So the children come, and so they have been coming, always the same way they come, born of the seed of a man and a woman.
Each night a child is born, is a holy night, a time for singing, a time for wandering, a time for worshiping. Each night a child is born, is a holy night.
No angels herald their beginnings, no prophets predict their future courses, no wise men see a star to show where to find the babe that will save humankind.
Each night a child is born.
night a child is born is a holy night. Fathers and mothers sitting beside their children's cribs feel glory in the sight of a new life beginning. They ask, where and how will this new life end, or will it ever end?
A child is born is a holy night, a time for singing, a time for wondering, a time for worshiping. Each night a child is born is a holy night, a time for singing, a time for wondering, a time for worshiping.
And so, through the story of Christmas, regardless of our own personal religious beliefs, Unitarian Universalists are reminded of core values that transcend time, culture, and even religion. Values of justice, compassion, hope, generosity in so many forms. And at the bottom of all of it, love. Love of the good, love of the unknown child whose life matters, love of family and friends, yes, but also love for the stranger in need. Without love and compassion, there is no equity and justice, and without justice, there is no peace. So we raise our voices tonight and throughout the year to proclaim our values, to speak truth to power and call for justice. We sing songs of celebration for those who often go uncelebrated, and we wish peace on all beings everywhere around the world.
Now, our next song is also going to be a chance for you to raise your voices. There's no piano with this one. So this one's a cappella. So I invite you to open your hymnals to number 239. It's a familiar tune. Many of us know it. If you don't, just like hum along and pretend you know it. What's gonna happen, maybe the choir should come stand where we can kind of be helpful. We'll let the choir come stand in the middle and be helpful. I'm just going to give us an opening note. We're going to sing Go Tell It on the Mountain, all three verses. Stand up, it'll make you feel more brave and confident. I will play the opening note, and then we're going to sing from the beginning, and we're going to sing all three verses. 1, 2, ready, go. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. While shepherds camp there watching, or silent flocks by night, behold, throughout the heavens there shone a holy light. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ sing the last part one more time. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. You did that great. You were very brave. You can sit down. You know, the thing about our voices is that they don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be polished to matter. They don't have to be practiced to contribute. They don't have to sound like anybody else's voice. When we join our voices together, something incredible happens, even if it's unexpected, whether we've prepared a lot or haven't prepared at all. When we join our voices, something really cool can happen. At the closing of our Christmas Eve service, we always sing Silent Night, and we light candles. And those candles have an important symbolic meaning. We don't really talk about it very much, but the candles we light represent our intention to use our voices and our actions and our lives to bring light into the world. They represent our courage, our hope, our love. We light them to demonstrate these things physically and also to make the promise that we're going to continue doing that throughout the rest of the year. Just as Jesus of Nazareth lived a life of miraculous passion and commitment to deeper truth and greater wisdom and values, we try to do that with our UU values. So we will light the candles as a prayer for peace. Jerry's going to dim all but the light in front of the piano so I can play the song. And you're just going to sing the first verse of Silent Night over and over and over again as we play through it a few times, sing through it a few times, and all our candles become lit.
As we extinguish the chalice and end this evening's program, We will leave our candles lit for just a moment. Notice how each of us carries light that matters. May we each carry wisdom, compassion, justice, transformation, generosity, hope, and peace into our world.
May we hear the voices of those around us with a deep respect for their inherent worth, their inherent dignity. And may we hear the silences of those unable to speak. May we speak with wisdom, peace, and joy so that we can spread it in the world like this light. In a moment, we're going to extinguish the chalice and blow out our candles, but let this light that you hold in front of you right now be carried in your heart, in your hands, and in your voice as you go into the world. Merry Christmas to all, and peace in the world. May it be so. Jerry, I'd like to ask you to let the lights come back up on the house and invite you all to join us for some treats as we spend just a few more moments together.